Beneath the twin moons of a dying world, the last elven city floated high above the clouds, its towers carved from living crystal that hummed with ancient magic. Eldoria was not built. It was grown shaped by song and starlight over thousands of years, and at its heart stood Luna, an elf woman with silver hair that shimmered like moonlight on water, and eyes the color of deep forest. Mos Luna was not a warrior, not in the way others thought of warriors. She did not carry swords or wear armor. Instead, she carried melodies in her throat and truth in her bones. She was a keeper, one of the few left who remembered the old songs, the ones that could wake mountains, calm storms, and heal broken earth. At her side always was Ember, a dragon no larger than a hunting hound but full of fire and spirit. His scales shifted with his mood from deep crimson when angry to soft gold. When content right now, they glowed a steady amber as he curled around her feet, his tail flicking lazily while she watched the horizon. Something was wrong. The sky had been too quiet for 3 days. No wind, no birds, no distant calls of sky whales that usually drifted between the floating islands below Eldoria. The air felt thin, stretched like old cloth about to tear. Luna placed a hand on the balcony railing, the crystal warm beneath her fingers. She closed her eyes and listened, not with her ears, but with her soul, and she heard it, a silence so deep it screamed, down below on the surface of the planet. Something was being taken, not stolen in the noisy way of raiders, but siphoned quietly, steadily like water from a cracked bowl. The life force of the world, the energy that fed the roots of Eldoria and powered the songs of the elves, was vanishing. Ember lifted his head. His nostrils flaring, he let out a low rumble deep in his chest. "Danger, I know," Luna whispered. She turned and walked inside the spire, her bare feet silent on the smooth floor. Other elves moved through the halls, their faces drawn, their steps slow. The city was weakening without the planet's energy. Even the light in the walls dimmed. In the central chamber, elders gathered, their robes faded, their voices hushed. "The ground is silent," said Elder Marin, her voice trembling. "The rivers no longer sing, the trees no longer breathe." "We must act," said Torin, his hands clenched. "But how do you fight silence?" Luna stepped forward. "We listen harder," she said. All eyes turned to her. "You are young," Luna said. Elder Marin gently. "But this is beyond songs." "Maybe," said Luna, "but songs are all we have left." That night Luna climbed to the highest spire, the place where the sky touched the city. She sat cross-legged with Ember beside her and began to sing, not a loud song, but a searching one. A thread of sound woven from memory and hope. It drifted down through the clouds, down to the broken earth below. For hours she sang, and then she felt it, a pulse faint but real, like a heartbeat under stone. But it was not alone. Something else answered, not with song but with stillness, a cold, perfect silence that swallowed her melody. Whole Luna gasped and broke off her song. Ember hissed, his wings flaring above the eastern ridge. 3 black shapes appeared, silent and smooth like shards of night torn from the sky. They made no sound, no trail, no light. They simply were alien ships. The elves had heard stories whispered by dying stars of a race that traveled between worlds, not to explore but to collect. They took energy, life, memories, even time itself, and stored them in crystal. Gardens where wonders from 1,000 worlds sat frozen, forever beautiful but dead. Now they had come to Earth by dawn. The ships had landed not with force but with grace. They hovered just above the dead forests and began to draw upward, a pale violet beam connecting each ship to the planet's core. The ground trembled, not from impact but from loss. Luna watched from Eldoria as the last green places turned gray. The rivers dried in minutes. The bones of ancient trees cracked and turned to dust. "Must fight," Torin shouted, gathering a group of young elves armed with bows and light blades. "No," Luna said, stepping in front of him. "They do not bleed like us. They do not fear like us. If we attack, they will erase us. Not kill us, erase." "Then what do we do?" Marin asked, her voice breaking. "We understand them," Luna said. But understanding took time, and time was running out. On the 3rd day, a single beam of violet light shot up from the largest ship, not aimed at Eldoria, but at Luna herself. It did not. "Burn it," called. A voice echoed, not in the air but in her mind. "Come, keeper. We have been waiting." Luna knew she had no choice. She turned to Ember and placed her forehead against his scaled brow. "Stay with me." She whispered, always he seemed to say with a soft chime in his throat. She walked to the edge of the city and stepped off, but instead of falling, the violet light caught her, lifting her gently into the sky. Ember leapt after her, and the light held him too. They rose through the clouds past the dead forests and broken mountains until they reached the alien ship. Its surface smooth and seamless like polished obsidian. There was no door, no hatch. But as Luna approached, a section of the wall melted away, revealing a corridor of pulsing crystal inside. The air was cool and still. The walls glowed with a soft inner light, veins of energy flowing like slow blood. Ember stayed close, his claws clicking softly on the floor. They were led not by guards, but by the ship itself, the path shifting to guide them deeper until they entered a vast chamber open to the stars above. There on a throne of woven light sat Princess Veyrash. Was tall, slender, her skin pale as moonstone, her hair white and floating as if underwater. Her eyes were the worst part. They held no warmth, no cruelty, just endless calculation, like a machine that had learned to smile. "You came," Luna said, Vera, her voice smooth as glass. "I had no choice," Luna replied. "Oh, you always have a choice." Vera stood and glided down the steps of her throne. "You could have hidden. You could have sung your little songs until your city fell. You could have let your world die quietly. But you wanted me," Luna said. Vera smiled, not with her mouth, but with her eyes. "I want what you carry, the last true connection to this planet's soul. Your songs are not just sound, they are keys, and I collect key." Sember growled low in his throat, his scales darkening. Vera glanced at him, and for the first time, something flickered in her gaze. "Interest, a dragon," she said. "How rare they vanished from the galaxy centuries ago, hunted to extinction for their heart fire." "He is not extinct," Luna said sharply. "He is protected, as you should be," Vera said, stepping closer. "You are the last elf, the last singer of the old ways. Your kind refused to evolve. You clung to magic while others built engines and empires. You are a relic, Luna, a beautiful dying thing, and you want to put me in a jar," Luna said. Vera laughed, a sound like wind through empty halls. "Not a jar. A garden, a place of honor where your song will be preserved forever, where you will never age, never fade, never lose your light, at the cost of everything else," Luna said. "Everything else is already gone," Vera said, gesturing to the chamber wall which shimmered to show the planet below, gray and still. No wind, no life, no song, just silence. "You did that," Luna said. "I revealed the truth." Vera corrected. "Your world was already dying. You just refused to see it. I offer you a way to live beyond its death." Luna looked at the image of her home, now a wasteland. Her heart ached, but she did not look away. "You call that living?" Luna asked. "You call stealing life and locking it away living?" "I call it survival," Vera said. "There is another way," Luna said. "Is there?" Vera tilted, her head curious. "Yes," Luna said. "The old songs are not just for taking, they are for giving, for balance, for return." Vera's smile faded. "You cannot return what is gone." "Watch me," Luna said. Before Vera could react, Luna dropped to one knee and pressed her palm to the crystal floor. She closed her eyes and began to sing, not a loud song, not a battle cry, but a seed song, soft and deep. The first note of creation, the sound that told the world it was loved. Ember curled around her, his body glowing now, not with anger, but with purpose, his heart fire sinking with her voice. The floor beneath her hand cracked, not from force, but from awakening. Golden light spread from the crack, racing through the ship's veins. The stolen energy Vera had gathered began to stir, not as a weapon but as a memory. The planet remembered. Vera stumbled back. "What are you doing?" "Giving it back," Luna said, her voice steady, even as the song pulled at her very soul. The ship shuddered violently. Lights flickered, walls bled. Liquid light alarms wailed in strange tongues. The energy surged not outward but homeward, drawn by Luna's song. Like a child returning to its mother. "You will destroy us all," Vera shouted, her calm finally broken. "No," Luna said. "I will heal us all." The violet beams connecting the ships to the planet reversed color, turning gold, then white, then clear. The energy poured back into the earth. Rivers filled trees, sprouted green shoots pushed through, ashbirds cried in the distance for the first time. In Eldoria above glowed brighter, its towers singing in harmony with Luna's voice. Vera fell to her knees, her perfect posture broken, her silver robes dull, her face pale, not from cold, but from awe. "You could have ruled beside me," she whispered. "Do not rule." Luna said, breathless, "But I protect, and if you leave now and never return, you may live." Vera looked at her for a long moment, then nodded once slowly. She rose and walked toward a newly formed opening in the ship's wall where starlight poured in. Without another word, she stepped into the void and vanished. Silence returned. But this time it was peaceful. Not empty. Luna slumped forward, Ember catching her before she fell, his warmth steady against her skin outside. The sky cleared, the twin moons shone brighter, and far below the world breathed again. They had not won with fire or force, but with a single song of return. Luna looked up at Eldoria, glowing like a jewel in the sky. Her home, her people waiting. She was not the lay. Weeks passed since the violet ships vanished and the world began to breathe again. Green returned to the valleys. Rivers sang once more, and the sky whales drifted between the floating islands with slow grace. Eldoria glowed brighter than it had in centuries, its crystal towers humming with renewed life. Yet Luna did not rest. She stood each dawn on the highest balcony, watching the horizon. Not with fear, but with quiet worry. Ember stayed close, his golden scales catching the first light, his eyes sharp, scanning the clouds for anything out of place. The planet was healing, but the silence still lingered in places. Deep places where the alien machines had dug too far. Luna could feel it like a bruise beneath the skin of the world, a wound that refused to close. One evening as the twin moons rose, Elder Marin found Luna in the song chamber, a circular room where the walls remembered every note ever sung. "You have not slept," she said gently. Luna shook her head. "I hear it, Marin." A whisper. Beneath the song, something calling back. Ember lifted his head from where he lay, curled near the door, his ears twitching. Marin sighed and sat beside her. "The elders believe the danger has passed. They say we should celebrate, rebuild, forget. Forgetting is how we almost died," Luna said softly, before Marin could reply. A soft chime echoed through the chamber, not from the walls but from the air itself, a single note, clear and cold like ice on glass. Both elves froze. Ember stood, his scales shifting to deep red. The note came again, this time from outside. Luna rose and walked to the window, fair below in the newly healed forest. A light pulsed. Not violet, not gold, but silver, soft and steady like a heartbeat. It was not a ship. It was a seed. They descended, through the city's root bridges, vines that lowered them gently to the earth below. The ground felt warm beneath Luna's bare feet. Alive but uneasy. Ember walked ahead, his nose to the ground. His tail low, they found it in a clearing, a sphere. No, larger than a melon, made of smooth silver metal, half buried in rich soil. Tiny veins of light ran through it, pulsing in time with the planet's rhythm. "It is hers," Luna whispered. "Vera left this, but why?" Marin asked, stepping closer. Luna knelt and placed a hand near it, not touching, just feeling the energy it gave off. "It is not a weapon, it is a message." A key. Ember sniffed, then sneezed, a small puff of flame. The sphere glowed brighter in response. That night Luna gathered the elders and the young singers. In the heart of Eldoria, she held the sphere in her palms. It hummed softly against her skin. "Vera did not come only to take. She said she came to test us, and we passed. But this she left. This is a choice." "What kind of choice?" Torin asked. Arms crossed, the sphere shows a map. Luna said, not of stars but of wounds, places across the galaxy where worlds are dying like ours were silent. Broken, empty. Vera collects what remains, but she cannot heal them. She does not know how, so she left this for you, Marin, said, understanding dawning in her eyes. "Not just for me," Luna said. "For us, the old songs work here because this world knows us. But other worlds have their own songs, their own keepers. If they still live, we must find them." "You would leave Eldoria," Torin said sharply. "After all we have lost, I would return with more than we had." Luna said, "If we are the last singers, then silence wins everywhere. But if we teach others to sing again, the galaxy can heal." Ember nudged her hand. his eyes bright with purpose. After long silence, Marin nodded. Then we prepare. Preparations took days. The elves wove a vessel not of metal but of living wood and crystal, grown from the heart of Eldoria's oldest tree. They called it the Whisper Wing. Its wings shaped like open hands, ready to catch starlight, and Song Luna packed little only a water skin, a cloak of moon-woven thread, and a small flute carved from dragon bone. A gift from Ember's first shed scalen, the morning of departure. The whole city gathered to see her off. You are not just our keeper now, Marin said, placing a hand on Luna's shoulder. You are the voice of many. Luna smiled and climbed aboard the Whisper Wing. Ember leapt after her, curling around the pilot's perch, his warmth a steady comfort. The city lifted, the ship with a chorus of voices and with a final pulse of light. The Whisper Wing shot into the sky, leaving a trail of soft green sparks. Their first destination glowed in the sphere, a blue world third from a yellow sun, its song faint, but still. There the journey took 9 days. Space was not empty as Luna once thought. It was full of echoes, old battles, lost loves, broken promises, and beneath it all, the quiet hum of sleeping worlds. Sember slept most of the way, curled in a ball of scales and warmth, but Luna stayed awake listening. On the 10th day they entered the blue world's sky. It was beautiful from above, oceans wide and deep, continents wrapped in green. But as they descended, the truth showed itself. Cities stood frozen, not in ice, but in time. Glass domes covered entire towns. People paused mid-step. Birds hung in the air like statues, Vera's work, but not finished. In the center of the largest city, a tower pulsed with the same silver light as the seed. Luna landed the Whisper Wing in a quiet field outside the dome. They walked through the silent streets, Ember's claws clicking on the glass road. No wind, no sound. Not even their own footsteps echoed. Then a flicker in a small garden behind a house. A single flower moved its petals, opening and closing slowly. Alive, Luna knelt and touched the soil beneath it. Warm and breathing. Someone is still here, she whispered. A voice answered, not from the air but from the flower itself, soft and tired. Who sings for the sky? Now Luna's eyes widened. The flower was speaking through the roots, through the earth. I am Luna of Eldoria, she said. And this is Ember. The flower trembled. Then a figure emerged from the house, not walking but growing from the vines on the wall. A woman made of leaves and moss, her eyes deep green, her hair woven with blossoms. I am Naya, the last gardener, she said. You should not be here. The silence eats sound. They took the song from us, Naya explained, leading them inside her home where roots formed chairs and walls. The silver tower in the center, it pulls the life from everything but leaves the shape behind like a shell can. It be undone, Luna asked. Only if someone sings the world's true name, Naya said. But I have forgotten it. In the quiet, Luna looked at Ember, then at Niathan. We remember together that night under the glass sky. Luna, Nia, and Ember gathered in the garden. Luna began a simple note, low and warm. Naya added a hum like wind through trees. Ember chimed in with a soft purr that vibrated through the ground. Slowly, the garden responded, leaves uncurled. Petals opened, roots stretched. The silver tower pulsed angrily, but the song grew stronger. Luna wove in fragments of Eldoria's melody. Naya added the old chants of rain and seed, and Ember gave the fire the spark that turned memory into life. The ground shook. The glass dome cracked, and the tower began to crumble, not from force but from truth. As the first real breeze in years swept through the city, people blinked and moved, birds took flight, and the world exhaled. Nia wept. You gave us back our voice, she said. No, Luna said, you never lost it. You just needed to hear it again. They stayed 3 days helping the people remember how to listen to rivers, how to speak to trees, how to sing with the wind on the 4th morning. Nia stood with Luna at the edge of the city. The sphere glowed again, showing the next world, a red desert planet with twin suns. You will go there too? Nia asked, as long as there is a song to find. Luna said. Nia placed a small seed in Luna's hand, grown from the first flower that moved. Take this, she said, so you never forget that life finds a way. Luna tucked it into her cloak as the Whisper Wing rose into the sky. Ember looked back once, then settled against Luna's side. They flew toward the red suns. The galaxy was vast and broken in places, but not beyond hope, because somewhere a keeper still sang, and dragons still dreamed of green skies. The red suns of Kalis burned hot and dry over endless dunes of rust-colored sand. The Whisperwing descended slowly, its wings folding like hands in prayer. Luna stood at the edge of the ship, her silver hair tied back. Her eyes narrowed against the glare. Ember sat beside her, his scales dull orange to match the dust, his ears twitching at every whisper of wind. This world felt different. Not silent like the blue planet, but angry. The air crackled with heat and something deeper, a pain buried under miles of stone. The sphere pulsed in Luna's hand, warm and urgent. It led them here to a place marked only by a single symbol, a broken spiral. They stepped onto the sand, and it shifted underfoot, not loose but trembling, like the skin of a wounded beast. Ember sniffed the air, then growled. "Lo, something is watching us," Luna said. "Not something, someone from behind a ridge of black rock." A figure emerged, tall, lean, wrapped in tattered cloth that shimmered like oil on water. The face beneath the hood was sharp, with high cheekbones and eyes the color of molten copper. "You are not from the Silence," she said, her voice rough like stone on stone. "No," Luna said, "we come from Song." The woman studied them, then nodded. "Once follow." She led them through a canyon, where the walls were carved with ancient symbols, some glowing faintly, others cracked and dark. The air grew cooler the deeper they went, until they reached a hidden cavern lit by crystals that burned without flame. Inside, dozens of people waited, not frozen, not broken, but armed, their eyes wary, their hands near weapons. "This is Rhea," the woman said, turning to them. "She claims to Singa." Man stepped forward, older, his face lined with scars. "I am Kale, leader of the last free ones. If you work for the Hollow Ones, we will end you now." Luna did not flinch. She met his gaze. "I work for no one but the world itself." "Prove it." Luna knelt and placed her palm on the stone floor. She closed her eyes and sang one note, pure and steady, the note of grounding, the first sound a child makes when learning to stand. The crystals in the walls brightened. The ground stopped trembling, and deep below, something answered, a slow, deep hum, like a sleeping giant turning in its sleep. Kale's eyes widened. "That sound, it has been gone for generations. The Hollow Ones came years ago," he explained, "their ships like teeth in the sky. They did not take our people, they took our heart. The core fire that kept this world alive. They left us the suns, the sand. But no soul. Where is the core now?" Luna asked. "Beneath the black spire," he said, pointing upward through the rock to a distant peak that pierced the sky like a dagger. "They built their machine there. It drinks the fire and sends it across the stars." Luna looked at Ember. He nodded, his scales shifting to deep red. "We go there," she said. "Not alone," Rhea said, stepping forward. "I know the paths. They do not watch me. I am too small, too quiet." "You are not quiet," Luna said, smiling. "You are listening." They left at dusk, moving like shadows across the dunes. Rhea led them through dry riverbeds and collapsed tunnels, her knowledge of the land saving them from patrols of floating drones that scanned the desert with cold blue eyes. By dawn, they reached the base of the black spire. It was not built of metal but of solidified silence, smooth and featureless, rising miles into the sky. No door, no window, just a perfect column of nothing. "How do we enter?" Luna asked. Rhea pointed to a crack near the base, barely wide enough for a hand. "The world fights back," she said. "Even stone remembers pain." Luna pressed her fingers into the crack and sang again. Not a loud song, but a question. The stone groaned and split open just enough for them to slip inside. Within, the spire was hollow and cold. The walls pulsed with stolen energy, veins of violet light running upward like roots feeding a dead tree. At the center floated a sphere of fire no bigger than a child's heart, but blazing with the soul of Kalis. The core, but around it stood three figures, tall, pale, their faces smooth and empty. Hollow Ones, they turned as one, their eyes black voids. "You do not belong here," one said, its voice like wind through a tomb. "We belong more than you," Luna said, stepping forward. The Hollow Ones moved, not with steps but with flickers appearing between heartbeats. Ember leapt, shielding Luna with his body, his fire flaring bright enough to push back the gloom. Rhea threw dust from her pouch. Not sand, but ground crystal. It sparkled in the air, confusing the Hollow Ones for just a moment. Luna ran to the core. She placed both hands on the energy field around it and began to sing the full song. Now not just a note, but a story of fire and stone, of people who danced under twin suns, who sang to the stars, and buried their dead in sand that bloomed with flowers. The core responded, pulsing brighter. The hollow ones shrieked a sound that was not sound, but the absence of it. The spire shook. Rhea grabbed Luna's arm. The song is working, but it will not hold. Themlong Luna nodded and changed her melody. Not to fight, but to return, she wove the core's fire into the song and sent it downward through the stone into the bones of the world. The ground roared. Outside, the desert cracked open rivers of molten light surged upward, not destroying but awakening. The hollow ones flickered, then vanished like smoke and wind. The spire crumbled. They ran as the black tower fell behind them. The desert bloomed, red flowers burst through the sand geysers of clean water, shot into the air, and the twin suns shone not as punishers but as parents back in the canyon. The people waited. When they saw Rhea and Luna and Ember walking toward them, covered in dust but glowing with warmth, they dropped to their knees, not in worship but in thanks. Kale stood last, his eyes wet. "You gave us back our fire," he said. "No," Luna said, "you never lost it. It was just sleeping that night they feasted under open stars." The first true night Kalis had known in years. Music filled the air. Drums and flutes and voices raw with joy. Rhea sat beside Luna, Ember curled at their feet. "Will you stay?" she asked. Luna looked at the sphere. It glowed again, showing a new point far beyond the red suns. A world wrapped in ice. Its song almost gone. Not yet, she said, but one day maybe. Rhea handed her a small vial filled with red sand and a single black scale from the spires. "Oh, you remember us?" she said. Luna tucked it into her cloak next to Nia's seed. Before dawn, they returned to the Whisper Wing. The people of Kalis gathered to see them off, not with sadness but with hope. As the ship rose, Kale shouted one last thing, "Tell the stars we are still here." Luna smiled and nodded. They flew toward the ice world. Days passed in quiet. Ember slept most of the way, his body healing from the spire's cold. Luna watched the stars and listened to the songs of worlds they had touched. Each one different, but all connected by the same need to be heard. When they reached the ice world, it was white and still, a planet locked in endless winter, the oceans frozen solid. The air so cold it burned, but beneath the ice something beat slow and steady. They landed on a glacier that groaned under their weight. No one came to meet them. No hidden people, no waiting guide, just silence and snow. Luna walked forward, her breath forming clouds. Ember stayed close, his warmth melting a small circle around them. She knelt and placed her hand on the ice and sang not a loud song, but a lullaby, the kind a mother sings to a child who has cried too long. The ice did not melt, but it listened. Deep below, a light flickered, then grew. A shape moved beneath the surface, not human, not dragon, but something older, a being of frost and memory with eyes like frozen stars. It rose, slowly breaking through the ice, not with force but with grace. "You are late," it said, its voice like cracking glaciers. The song was almost gone. "I am here now," Luna said. The being studied her. "Then Ember, you bring fire to ice. I bring balance," Luna said. The being nodded and stepped aside, revealing a stairway of ice leading down. "Follow." They descended into the heart of the world where the last song slept, wrapped in crystal. Luna placed her hands on the crystal and began to sing. Not alone. This time, Ember added his chime. Rhea's red sand warmed in her pocket. Nia's seed pulsed with green life, and the memory of Kalis's fire burned bright. The crystal melted not into water but into light. The ice world exhaled. Above, the glaciers cracked. Not to break, but to breathe. Rivers of clear water flowed for the first time in centuries, and the auroras danced in colors no one had seen in ages. The frost being bowed. "You are not just a keeper," it said. "You are a bridge." Luna looked at Ember, then at the stars beyond the ice. "Maybe." That was always the song, she said, not to hold the world, but to connect it. As the Whisper Wing lifted into the sky, the ice world glowed below, not with heat but with life. And far away in another part of the galaxy, a silver garden trembled as one of its frozen exhibits cracked open just a little. Vera watched from her throne, her fingers tracing the new fracture in the glass. A small smile touched her lips. The keeper was teaching the galaxy to sing, and for the first time in centuries she felt, not like a collector but like a student. The whisper wing drifted through the quiet dark between stars, its wings folded like sleeping hands. Luna sat near the front, her fingers tracing the surface of the sphere. It no longer showed just one world, but many tiny lights blinking like fireflies. Across its surface, each one a planet with a song still breathing. Ember lay curled at her feet, his scales a soft silver blue from the cold of deep space. His breathing slow and steady. They had healed 3 worlds now. Eldoria, the blue garden world, Kalis the desert and the ice world of frost memory. But the sphere kept glowing brighter, not with urgency but with something new. Hope Luna felt it too. The galaxy was changing not all at once but like roots spreading under stone. Slow quiet, and, sure then the sphere pulsed hard once sharp and bright. A new light appeared not on the edge but at the center. A world she knew, Earth but not as it was before. This Earth sang with many voices, not just elven songs, but human drums, machine hums, ocean, waves and city lights all woven together in a strange new harmony. How Luna whispered. Ember lifted his head, his eyes wide. They turned the whisper wing toward home. The journey took 6 days, as they neared the solar system. Luna saw it. Earth floated calm, and green its clouds swirling in patterns that looked almost like dance steps. The moon glowed steady, and the silence that once choked the planet was gone, replaced by a low, steady hum of life rebuilding. But something else was there too. Ships not black, not violet, but silver, sleek and quiet, moving in slow orbits around the planet, not taking, not watching, just waiting. Vera's ships. Sluna's heart beat faster. Ember stood and pressed against her side, his warmth a quiet promise. They descended. Through the atmosphere, the whisper wing leaving a trail of green mist behind it as it passed over oceans and forests and mountains, until it reached the place where Eldoria once floated. But Eldoria was gone. In its place hung a new city not made of crystal alone, but of wood, steel, glass, and living vines. A place where elves and humans and others worked side by side. Towers rose not just upward but outward, connected by bridges of light and song. Below on the ground, people gathered as the whisper wing landed, not just elves but humans with kind eyes and open hands. Children running ahead, laughing, pointing at Ember, who gave a soft puff of golden smoke in greeting. Woman stepped forward, tall, with dark skin and bright eyes. She wore a tunic woven with both circuit lines and leaf patterns. "You are Luna," she said, her voice warm. "You have been missed. Who are you?" Luna asked. "My name is June." "I am a bridge builder," she said. "After you left." The silence broke, not just in nature but between us humans and elves. We realized we were both keepers, just in different ways. Luna looked around the city, the fields, the sky whales drifting peacefully above. "You did this. We did this together," June said. "And we kept a place for you." She led Luna through streets where music played from open windows, where gardens grew on rooftops and machines hummed softly alongside wind chimes. The center of the city stood a tree taller than any building, its branches wide, its leaves shimmering with silver veins. The heart tree. June said it grew from a seed your people left behind the day you flew away. Luna placed her hand on its bark and felt it sing, not just with elven magic but with human hope, with dragon warmth, with the memory of desert fire and ice lullabies. It knew her. That night they held a gathering. Not a feast, but a sharing. People brought songs, stories, tools, seeds, and songs again. Always songs. June sat beside Luna, Ember curled around them both like a living blanket. "The silver ships are still out there," June said quietly. "I know," Luna said. "They do not attack. They do not speak. But they watch. They are waiting." Luna said, "For me to finish what I started." The next morning, Luna climbed the heart tree to its highest branch. The sphere in her hand, glowing like a small sun, she looked up at the silver ships and sang not a song of warning or welcome, but of offering. One ship broke from the others and descended slowly, landing in a field of wildflowers. The ramp lowered, and Vera stepped out. She looked different, her silver robe simpler, her eyes less sharp, more tired. "You came back," Luna said. "I had to," Vera said. "Your song reached even my garden." And for the first time the frozen things began to dream. She walked closer, Ember watched, but did not growl. Thought, I was saving beauty by keeping it still. Vera said, but you showed me beauty lives only when it moves, when it changes, when it sings. Luna nodded. Will you stay, she asked. No, Vera said, I have a garden to heal 1,000 worlds to return to life, but I cannot do it alone. Luna understood. You need keepers. I need teachers. They stood in silence for a long moment. Then Luna turned to the city below and called out, June, Nia, Ria. And others came running. This is Vera, Luna said. She is learning to listen, June. Studied the alien princess, then held out her hand not in challenge but in offer welcome. She said. Vera looked at the hand, then at Luna. What do I do first? Learn to plant a seed. Luna said. So under the twin suns and the watchful eyes of sky whales they gathered in the field. Vera knelt in the dirt, her perfect robe stained with soil. June showed her how to hold a seed, how to feel the earth, how to wait. Ember watched from a nearby rock. His scales golden in the light. Luna stood apart for a moment, looking at the city, the ships, the stars. The work was not done, but it was shared in the weeks that followed. Vera stayed not as a princess, but as a student. She learned to sing with the wind, to listen to rivers, to laugh when a bird landed on her head. Other silver ships began to change too, their cold surfaces blooming with vines and light as their crews stepped out into the sun for the first time. Luna taught them songs. They taught her star maps. Ember made friends with small alien creatures that looked like floating jellyfish but purred like cats on evening as the moons rose. Luna sat with Vera on the roof of a new tower, built from both crystal and steel. Do you think the galaxy will ever be whole again? Vera asked. Not whole, Luna said. But connected. There is a difference. Whole means finished, connected means alive. Vera smiled, a real smile this time. I like alive better. The next morning the sphere glowed again. Not with a new world, but with a message from one they had already touched, the Blue Garden world. The people there had begun teaching their own songs to nearby planets. The healing was spreading. Luna knew then her journey as a lone keeper was over. Now she was part of something larger. A web of voices, each different, but all singing the same truth. You are not alone. As the whisper wing lifted once more. Not to leave, but to visit, to listen to. Share Ember curled in the pilot's seat, his eyes bright with adventure. Below the city waved not with flags, but with branches and hands, and Songsin far above the silver ships turned not toward the stars, but toward the many worlds waiting to remember their names. Luna did not look back. She did not need to. Home was no longer a place. It was a promise, and she would keep singing it wherever. The wind would carry her. The whisper wing sailed through a sky painted with dawn light. Soft pinks and golds spilling over the curve of a green world below. This planet had no name. Not in any old tongue or star chart. It was new, born from the joining of many songs, and it pulsed with life that had never known silence. Luna stood at the ship's edge, her silver hair loose in the wind. Ember beside her, his scales shimmering like liquid sunlight. They had been traveling for months, not as saviors, but as listeners visiting. Worlds that once wept, now learning to laugh. This place had called them not with pain but with joy. A song of celebration. As they descended, Luna saw why. Below stretched a valley where trees grew in spirals, their leaves glowing with soft blue light. Rivers ran in gentle loops, humming as they moved, and in the center stood a gathering of beings from a dozen worlds. Elves from Eldoria, humans from Earth, desert folk from Kalis, frostwalkers from the ice world, and others Luna had never seen before. Beings of light. Beings of stone. Even small dragonkin no bigger than cats with wings like stained glass. They were building something together, not a city, not a machine but a chorus. June stood at the heart of it, her hands raised as she wove human rhythm with elven melody. Ria added the beat of desert drums, Nia sang with the voice of blooming flowers, and Vera, now dressed in simple cloth, woven with living moss, guided the flow of energy with quiet grace. They saw the whisper wing and broke into cheers, not loud but warm like sunlight on skin. Luna landed the ship and stepped out, Ember leaping ahead, his tail wagging like a happy hound. You came, they said all at once. We heard the song. Luna replied. It was true the moment she neared the planet. She felt it, not one voice but many layered like roots in rich soil, each different, but feeding the same life. Vera walked over her once cold eyes, now soft with wonder. "We are making a bridge," she said, "not of stone or steel, but of sound. A song that can travel between worlds without ships, without fear." Luna understood this was the next step. Not just healing broken places, but connecting whole ones. They showed her the heart of the valley. A great stone shaped like an open hand in its center floated. A sphere of light made from pieces of every world they had touched, a sliver of Eldorian crystal, a drop of Kalis fire, a petal from Naya's garden, a shard of ice memory, and even a thread of human code that hummed like a lullaby. When Luna placed her hand on the stone, the light flared and a sound rose, not from one throat but from all of them. A single note that held every voice. Ember chimed in and the note deepened, grew warmer. "This is the first true galactic song," Luna whispered. "And it is just the beginning." June said for days they worked together, adding layers to the song, teaching it to the wind, to the rivers, to the very air, so that any being who stepped onto this world would hear it and carry it home. Luna taught the elves how to blend their old songs with new rhythms. Vera showed the humans how to shape energy with intention, not control, and Rhea led the children in dances that shook the ground, just enough to wake sleeping seeds. Evan the small dragonkin joined in there, tiny wings beating in time, their voices like bell-sown evening as the twin suns set. Luna sat with Ember on a hill overlooking the valley. "Do you miss flying alone?" he asked. Not in words, but in the soft press of his head against her shoulder. "Sometimes," she answered, "but not today." Today felt like coming home, even though they were far from Eldoria. Far from Earth, this place was home because it was made by many hands, many hearts. The next morning a new signal came. Not from the sphere, but from the sky. A ship approached, not silver, not black but bronze, its surface etched with symbols that shifted like living ink. It landed without sound, and from it stepped a being tall and slender, with skin like polished bark and eyes that held galaxies. "I am Orin the Traveler," they said, their voice like wind through ancient trees. "I have followed your song across the dark." Luna rose to meet them. "You are welcome." Orin looked at the valley, at the chorus, at the glowing stone. "You have done what my people tried and failed to do," they said. "We believed unity meant sameness. So we silenced all but one voice, and in doing so we lost our own." They bowed their head. "May I learn from you?" "Yes," Luna said. "But only if you teach us too." So Orin stayed. They showed them how their people once sang with stars, how they shaped comets with harmony, how they slept inside nebulas and dreamed new elements into being. In return, the valley taught Orin how to listen to small things. The buzz of an insect, the sigh of a leaf, the laugh of a child. Slowly, Orin's rigid posture softened. Their bark like skin grew moss along the edges, and their eyes began to reflect not just stars but fireflies. One night, Orin stood before the group. "Bring a warning," they said. "A shadow moves beyond the rim of known space, not a ship, not a being, but a hunger that eats songs. It has already silenced 3 worlds near the edge of my path." The group fell quiet. Ember's scales darkened to deep red. Luna felt the old fear rise, but she did not let it take root. "What does it want?" she asked. "Not want," Orin said. "Need. It is empty and it takes sound to fill itself, but it cannot hold it, so it keeps taking until nothing is left." Vera stepped forward, her face grim. "I have heard of this, the void chorus. It is not evil, just lost. Then we do not fight it." Luna said. "We feed it." "How?" June asked. "With truth," Luna said, "with a song so full of life it cannot help but remember its own." They worked for 7 days and 7 nights, weaving a new song, not of defense, but of invitation. They pulled threads from every world, every voice, every memory of pain and joy and hope. Orin added the sound of dying stars being reborn. Rhea added the first rain after drought. Nia added the moment a seed cracks open. June added the hum of a mother's voice. Vera added the first note she ever heard that was not her own. And Luna added the silence between notes, the space where listening lives. Ember gave the fire, the spark that turned sound into soul. When it was done, they placed the song into the bronze ship Orin had come in. "You will carry it to the edge," Luna said. Orin nodded, tears like sap falling from their eyes. "I will not be alone," they said. "The song will go with me." As the ship rose into the sky, the valley sang one last time, not loud but clear. A thread of sound stretching across the dark weeks passed. Life in the valley settled into a new rhythm, not of urgency, but of care. Children learned to sing before they spoke. Elders taught the young how to listen to stone and sky. Luna began to teach Ember how to shape song with his fire. Not just to warm but to heal. One afternoon as they practiced, a soft chime echoed from the sky. The bronze ship returned. It landed gently and Orin stepped out. Their form changed now, glowing with soft, green light. Behind them walked three beings, once hollow, now whole. Their eyes bright with wonder. The void chorus is quiet. Orin said it did not vanish, but it listened. It remembered. The three beings bowed to. Luna, we are singers again, they said. That night, the valley held a circle, not to build but to welcome. The new singers shared their broken songs, and the valley wove them back together, not to erase the cracks but to make them part of the beauty. Luna watched from the hill, Ember beside her. The galaxy was still vast, still full of unknowns, but it was no longer lonely, because somewhere someone was always singing, and someone was always listening. As the moons rose, Luna felt the sphere in her pocket grow warm, not with a new mission, but with peace. The work would never end, but it would never be hers alone again. She looked at Ember, ready for the next song. He purred a golden note into the night, and together, they walked back to the light.